Welcome to Holy Chits. I am your host, Christy Austin, here to remind you that you are whole. Chit, a Sanskrit word for pure consciousness, why I started this podcast. And I want to give a big thanks to Lux Media. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And today, I'm super excited about this guest today. You have no idea what a huge impact this human has had on my life. James Leathem, the owner of Advanced Wellness and Pain. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Chris. I really appreciate that. Co-founder, co-owner, two partners as well. Yeah, Dr.
Yes,
Sharma,
yes.
Dr. Wong got it. Without them, this wouldn't be possible as well. But yeah, definitely. It's been just incredible to meet you in this lifetime and to help elevate you and your family. It's all about consciousness, right? So that's why my slogan is to evolve your perspective, which is kind of essentially consciousness.
Yes. So I met you because my son was in a car accident and I was looking at for pain management for him. All the doctor's offices I had gone to, they're very cold white walls and it didn't feel like a good placement for my family. And someone told me, oh, you should check out Advanced Pain and Wellness.
Advanced
The
Wellness and
minute I
Pain.
walked, I'm sorry?
AWOP. Advanced Wellness and
AWOP.
Pain. No
Yes.
APAW. We thought about that one, but in 2020, a song came out, WAP, if your listeners might know. So it kind of goes along with that a little bit.
It does. It
Now you'll
totally
never forget it.
never forget it. Yes. So I walked into your office and it was like right away I knew this is where my son needed to be. It just the art on your walls resonated with me. You get to pick out a crystal to hold during the sessions and essential oils, and I was like, okay, this is for me. This is my kind of place and who I trust my son trusted my son in the hands of. So just speaking with you, actually it was Dr. Wong, I think, that we had our first meeting with, and he was so warm and inviting, and I felt like immediately at home. I can trust you guys. So
Yeah, I tell people what turns a house into a home, one of the things is like artwork and decorations. So
Mhm.
what turns a clinic into a healing sanctuary? It's that set and setting. And part of that is the art. And then I want to hit all five senses during the experience. So I have the essential oils for rating smell. And then for touch, you have the crystals, so you can put your thumb on the point of it because they're all in the tower shape. And then we have vibration on the wrist, this Apollo Neuro device from Dr. David Rabin. That's a really cool device if your listeners are interested in something that can help their anxiety and their sleep. ApolloNeuro.com, wearable hugs, essentially. That's their first touch point, little vibration on the wrist. And then as far as sound, we're gonna take care of that with the music, pick all that out for you. And then sight, all the art on the walls. You're in green light therapy as well in the rooms. Green has been clinically proven to help with anxiety and headaches. There's a study at the University of Arizona that proved that with the green light therapy. That's why I do that. Also, heart chakra is green. And then I look at the balance between, red to violet, Roy G. Biv. G is right in the middle, green. So it's that balance, that harmony, that nature. Everything's very intentional. And then you're probably like, well, how do you do taste? Well, we have element popsicles after. So we're able to give you electrolytes back right after. So that's why I hit all five senses. When you can engage all five senses in an experience, you're more likely to create a neurologic imprint and something that's memorable and long lasting.
Yes. So when I took my son to your office, it was strictly for pain. I did not know the effects, the psychedelic effects,
Oh,
and
cool.
what a powerful impact this medication has. So will you explain a little bit to us about what ketamine is and what it does?
Yeah, beautiful. So yeah, ketamine is known as a dissociative anesthetic. It was FDA approved in 1970. First human administration actually was August 3rd, 1964. So that's before it was ever FDA approved. And then it can be used as an anesthetic. It is FDA approved as that. But then also they found out in the early 2000s that it had a rapid antidepressant effect as well. So we use it in mental health to help with depression, anxiety, PTSD. Really helps with neural connectivity. So we know after a ketamine infusion, less than 24 hours after, we're getting something called dendritic spine formation, and it's changing synaptic connectivity. Fancy words for basically new tree branches or new roads, essentially for the neurons. So we're not just relying on increasing serotonin like SSRIs would do, like Zoloft or Prozac or other ones that are out there. We're acting on the NMDA receptor. So we're blocking that. That's where glutamate would usually bind to. And then we're getting this neuroplastic effect. So we're changing neural connectivity and not just working on neurotransmitters like the SSRIs do. I could go really into the deep science of it, but I want to kind of keep it like, just like a bird's eye view. So essentially, it's the most rapid acting antidepressant in medicine today. And a lot of times, like with pain, there's usually a mental component to it as well. If we're more anxious, it's going to make our pain worse. And then our pain's worse and more anxious and depressed, traumatized. So honestly, I think ketamine works most rapidly and best for PTSD. Number two, depression. Number three, anxiety. Pain, it works good for neuropathic type pains. So fibromyalgia, neuropathy, CRPS, migraines. It's not amazing for structural pain, like a pinched nerve root or arthritis. It might help during the infusion, but you're likely to go back to baseline. So I look at ketamine as like the reset button. Like, what do you do with your phone if it's not working or a computer's not working? You turn it off, you turn it back on. So then why isn't there that for mental health? Well, there is. There's ketamine. It's the only federally legal psychedelic right now. And I'm really excited about where mental health is going in the future. And I think psychedelic medicines is that next frontier that's going to really help us to heal our collective consciousness. And if, Chit is all about consciousness, I think psychedelics could be one of those major tools that is going to help to elevate the global collective consciousness. Also, on another note, I went to the Psychedelic Science Conference in Denver this past June, and it was amazing. It's put on by MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, and it's a movement. There's over 12,000 people there. You could feel the excitement around this next frontier, and MDMA is likely to be FDA approved next year as a FDA approved medicine. So they're going to apply in June 2024. At least that's what we were told then. And so we'll see how that process goes. That's going to be amazing for PTSD, maybe in the future couples therapy. These are tools for healing. There's no magic bullets. Psychedelics are not a panacea. I will never oversell or overpromise them, but they just rapidly get you the shift or a soft reset. So they're catalysts for change, catalysts for healing. I like to call it a catalyst for change with ketamine.
I love it. But that's something I didn't know either, that it actually heals the neural pathways. Is that correct? I'm probably saying
Well,
that.
rewire. So like to heal is kind of an ambiguous term, but to get new tree branch formation, but it can help to, heal some of the branches. Like you get something called de-arborization. So arbor like a tree, and it's kind of funny. That's why I'm behind a tree or in front of a tree here. That's why you see this when you go into clinic. I'm using this as a metaphor for the neural networks, essentially. So with time, if you have long-standing depression, anxiety, PTSD, you start to get de-arborization or withering of some of the neural pathways in the prefrontal cortex. And so ketamine is thought to help to, give you new pathways as well as, restore or heal some of the ones that have been damaged by chronic stress and depression, and things that are really just holding us down in life that have been dealing with chronically. We're in a high state of, cortisol that stress will cause. I actually look at us as like, we're a human operating system, right? And if you're not feeling optimal, you're just running an outdated software. Like, what do you have to do with your phone if it's not working? Either replace it or you got to update the software, right? So just like, hey, if I'm not feeling optimal, how do I upgrade my software? Ketamine is one of the ways in which to do that. You get a soft reboot, essentially.
And what I like about your clinic as well, or about ketamine, is that it's maybe a psychedelic, but it does not take you hours. You lay down in this chair. I love your it's like a massage table. You have the vibration that like syncs up to the music, which is super cool. You put on those blindfolds and headphones that plays the music.
Yeah.
And you put the little essential oils on the hand so you can smell it to ground yourself if you need that. The crystal that you can hold on to, kind of push on the tip of it to bring you to ground you. But what I really like is that it's with an IV, and it takes you into this state almost immediately, and then is done like within a half an hour. It's like you're back to normal. It's like, it doesn't you're not out of it the entire day, but it's so powerful. I remember my son, his first session, we walked out of there and he was just crying. He was just crying. He was just like, I'm so sorry, Mom. And then I remember that, and then the next time he was like, saw these traumas in his life as if he was there, as if it was the day before. He was able to see it with a different perspective. So that's what I think is so neat about this medication, is that it allows you to see these things that have happened into your life, but not being attached to it, you see it from
Mhm.
a different perspective. I have
Totally.
friends who said they saw that, their father who had passed, and they were able to heal through their trauma by, they came like into their head, they were their father. They saw their father's upbringing and what he had gone through, and experienced it. And when they came out of it, they were like, oh my God, completely have a new relationship with my dad now. So, it's very powerful. It's for such a short period of time, it's such a powerful medication.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if all the psychedelics were legal, I still think ketamine has its place. I call it the most controllable psychedelic medicine experience on planet Earth, but only when you do an IV. We're anesthesiologists, and I have a little bit of a bias. I do prefer the IV route of administration because it's controllable. If you do intramuscular, or you do nasal spray or sublingual lozenge or any other route of administration beyond IV, it's not as controllable. There's no stop button, and it's also not 100% bioavailable unless you do it IV. So I can control it and know that you're always in control as the patient. I mean, especially your first infusion, I'm just telling people I'm dipping the toe in the psychedelic pool. I'm not looking to dive right in, and know that you're always in control. We can stop it if we need to. We can go deeper into the experience if you need to. I can add other medicines in to help with anxiety and help with nausea, help with a headache, help with post-infusion fatigue that you can't do if you're doing all these other routes of administration. So it's very controllable. And then the fact that it's a 1 hour infusion, and then when we stop it, you come out of a peak experience in really less than 10 minutes. So then you'll feel an after effect for a couple hours, but you're remembering the entire thing. You're very functional. Where there's other medicines, like say psilocybin is a 6 to 8 hour journey depending on the dose. Or LSD could be 10 to 12 hours depending on the dose. Ayahuasca is like a 12-hour experience that I personally did back in 2016. Things that are more rapid is like DMT is the most rapid acting, but it's usually, inhaled or snorted, and then there's no stop button. So the fact that there's a stop button, I think if someone's really curious about psychedelics and they're like, I'm really nervous, where do I begin? I look at ketamine as a great place to start because IV, I can just stop it, know you're in control. My analogy is that ketamine's like Camelback. We're here in Scottsdale, so I'd rather climb Camelback Mountain before I go climb Mount Everest, right? So
Mhm.
don't just jump in with ayahuasca as your first psychedelic experience. Well, some people have, and that's okay. I just personally think I'd rather hike Camelback before Mount Everest. So it is like, and it works differently than any other psychedelic. It's really a dissociative anesthetic with psychedelic properties. And that word psychedelic, I think it's important to define it. Psyche means mind or spirit. Delit comes from the Greek word delos, to reveal meaning, to manifest or to show. So what you're really doing is you're revealing meaning from your subconscious, unconscious mind up to the conscious mind. So you can think of like the tip of the iceberg as the conscious mind. Supposedly 10% of it is above the surface. And the subconscious, unconscious mind is the iceberg that's beneath the surface. Another analogy that's really good that you can conceptualize way better than an iceberg, because most human beings have only seen an iceberg in a picture, but you've all seen these things. Imagine your conscious mind as a grape, and it's on top of a dime, which is on top of a beach ball. And so the grape is your conscious mind, the dime is your analytical mind, and your subconscious, unconscious mind is the beach ball. And you can see how much bigger that is in scale. We've all seen those things. So they say like 90% of your thoughts are occurring subconscious, and it's what drives you, right? In the present moment. What's unique about us as humans is we can jump around from worrying about the past or dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. That's anxiety. Dwelling on the past is depression. We want to get present. That's the key. And the present moment is a gift. And that's why we call it the present. So it's becoming aware. And until you're aware, you can't even create a change. So you have to be aware and conscious, and then ready, willing, and able. And if you can shift your personality, which is how you think, act, and feel, then that will shift your personal reality. And then you can get unstuck and
I
feel better and really enjoy this blessing of life that we're all getting to experience right now.
I love your analogies and the way you explain things. They're just really the best.
Thank God. I appreciate that. I
I
try to
love
work it sometimes.
I love it. And in your rap, I'm gonna have to have you do one of your raps too, because
Um,
they're the best. But I
yeah,
want to
perhaps we'll do that. Yeah, I'm known for that. Yeah, and then I mean, maybe Ice-T will watch this, and he's a rapper, so maybe like, hey, I like that. Tasha James, a little rap here. He said we'll set it up, and then in a little later we'll do that. I'll drop it for you.
awesome. That would be awesome. I'd love that. But I want to know, you said or you were an anesthesiologist.
Still am, always am. Yeah, I'm board certified anesthesiologist. Yeah.
Yes, is that so how did you get into the ketamine? When was your first time trying it, and how did you discover like this path that you're on now?
Totally. Yeah. So I am board certified anesthesiologist, and I practiced in the hospital at Banner Baywood Medical Center in Mesa from 2015 when I finished residency at Michigan State. Then I moved out here and got hired. That's how I met Dr. Wong, and then worked till 2019. And then we ended up losing the contract with Banner. We had been there for 22 years, so really unexpected. And just there's been a big shift as far as anesthesia practices throughout the country. I'm not going to get into that. It's a lot of politics and stuff. But so we made a jump and then started covering my brother's pain management group in 2020, 2019, 2020. And that was a really great year financially for us. But then in 2020, COVID happened. And then because they're pain management, a lot of elective surgeries weren't happening. A lot of procedures weren't happening unless they were deemed as urgent or emergency. So I didn't have a lot of work. And then their group ended up breaking up during 2020. And I realized how at the mercy I was of another practitioner, like whether it's a surgeon or proceduralist to bring me a case. And as an anesthesiologist, that's the thing. You don't ever market yourself. You just show up, here's your cases, and there you go. Whereas then now all of a sudden I was like, well, I don't have any work, but I have knowledge, I have skills. I want to take matters into my own hands. So then I've always been into psychedelics for my own personal evolution to explore consciousness. I look at them as catalysts for healing, but I really could never talk about it. Now I can. I am liberated. I'm authentically me. I talked to Rick Doblin. He said they got it funded maps. And he said, say you're out of the medicine cabinet. So that's what I am. I'm out of the medicine cabinet. I get to be real. I get to be authentic. I feel liberated because you shouldn't have shame around these things, especially if you're using them to elevate consciousness and to heal versus just recreationally to escape. So in 2020, we made that pivot and I was like, I know there's ketamine clinics out there. I know I have knowledge of ketamine and psychedelic medicines. Let's give it a shot. I had paid off my student loans. So really, like in my life, I'm looking like this, like me to even be a doctor, like nothing short of a miracle. I was the first on my dad's side to graduate college, first doctor in the family. I was 21 years old. I had this epiphany. I was in the hospital. Just give you the brief thing of it is my dad drowned when I was 21. He was 47, October 2002. 2 weeks later, my appendix ruptured. I was in the hospital. I almost died. On October 27, 2002, Game 7 of the World Series, the Giants are playing the Angels. The Angels beat the Giants. That very night in the hospital in Lakeland, Florida, I decided I want to become a doctor. So the fact that I even made it happen, like it took me 5 years to get into med school, was just like beyond me. I was a business major at the time, playing college baseball. I had no clue I would ever want to be a doctor. This just happened. So the fact that I made it through it, I did it, I paid off the loans. I was like, dude, this is all bonus at this point. I can go be an Uber driver and still be happy, honestly. Like I've found my inner peace. I've served my purpose. So this is all just bonus to me, honestly. That's how I look at life. So then I was like, all right, let's try this ketamine clinic. The loans are paid off. And I'd rather try and fail than never try and wonder. And I think that's a good lesson for anyone in life, that if you're not failing at things, you're probably not making progress, because progress requires discomfort, and fail, FAIL, is just first attempt in learning. So don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to fail, right? Because it means you're not trying new things. So we opened the clinic and we started out in Peoria, Arizona. We were subleasing space from a friend of mine that's a podiatrist. And we were just still doing anesthesia on the side a little bit, really going nowhere, honestly. We were helping some people, but it wasn't a profitable business. And then the guy that we were subleasing space from was like, I want to bring someone else in here. So in a way, kind of kicked us out, which is fine. Actually, it was a blessing in disguise. We ended up moving over to Scottsdale in August 2021. We started out here and we signed a 5-year lease with a business that wasn't even profitable, which is kind of wild. But I felt like, I could just do anesthesia. I always got that fallback. Could always go back and do that. And then August 21 opened up here. And then every month was getting better and better. And I was like, dude, if you can't make it in Scottsdale with a ketamine clinic, you can't make it anywhere. So we had to come to the prime time. And really, Peoria was a training ground for us to really hone our process. And so now we have a clinic here in Scottsdale, one in Gilbert, and we're full time and doing ketamine infusions, as well as the other wellness services that we provide. Literally just a couple of days ago on December 8th was my last day 1 year ago. So my 1 year anniversary of doing anesthesia. So December 8th event. So it's kind of cool. I was at this ketamine conference this past weekend in Austin. And then that was my 1 year anniversary of having, left anesthesia, making that jump. And when I tell people the story, like, man, congratulations, you made a lot of corporate medicine. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I appreciate that for sure. I feel blessed and honored. It's a privilege to do what I do, but it was definitely a scary thing. It was a 2-year transition to get to that point. So, why ketamine? It's because it's the only federally legal psychedelic. And then I had experience working with it. And I just saw that, they don't call it ordinary K, they call it special K, right? Because it is special, but to be used with reverence and respect and with proper preparation and intention, and then integrating the experience, cultivating what you learn. And that's how we get a true transformation. It's not just treat them and street them, which unfortunately, if your listeners are looking into ketamine, like just do your homework and your due diligence, because a lot of treat 'em and treat 'em ketamine clinics out there that just going to give you the medicine and you're out the door. There's no integration. And in my opinion, that's not really how it should be done. You're just treating it like a band-aid once again, like how a lot of Western medicine is just a band-aid approach. And I want people to heal. So you have to integrate that experience. And integration is just to make an experience whole, right? Opposite integration is disintegration. So obviously integration makes things whole. And then, like other psychedelics I've worked with personally, they're just not legal. I went to an ayahuasca ceremony on January 23rd, 2016, and it was beautiful. And it really allowed me to realize that, the earth is our host. It's like our mother essentially, and that we're like a bacteria or virus on planet Earth, and we're only alive because planet Earth exists. And then we're like a planet Earth, and we have bacteria like a microbiome within us. And if you've had chickenpox, you have the virus living in your dorsal root ganglion, but your immune system keeps it at bay. So we are like a bacteria and virus on planet Earth, and we have the same things within us, just at a different level. The saying "as above, so below" really comes into context here. So it just gave me that new perspective, and just felt like, everything in life is happening for me, not to me. And it's going from that victim mentality to being the victor. And that's a really difficult place to get to. But I'm telling you, even my dad drowning in 2002, it happened for me. It didn't happen to me, but it took me a long time to get there. So just to
Yeah.
encourage people, like wherever you are in your arc of healing, that, it takes time. You're getting exactly what you need, maybe not what you want, and that life is happening for you. And in time, it's usually our most challenging things that we go through, our biggest obstacles and traumas, that once we can heal them, we provide the most growth opportunity as a human being in this.
I feel like I needed to take notes because you pointed out so many awesome things there. But yes, everything is happening for you, not to you. That is like my motto. Whenever something goes wrong, I'm saying this is happening for me, not to me. It's happening for me, not to me, because
That's really difficult too
it-
sometimes,
it's really when we're going through our hardest times, it's hard to see that this is happening for us, but it really is true. If we can bring everything back to realize this is happening for me, it's a gift.
Correct.
So, so appreciate that. And then the ayahuasca, that's something that's been calling to me for the last 5 years. I just don't want to go to Peru to do that. That's why I
Oh,
haven't done
well, I have a place here in the United States. We could talk offline about it. I
it.
don't want to
We'll
put you
have
on blast, but
to-
you basically have to become a member of a Native American church to do it legally under the Religious Exemption Act. And it's very safe. And so, like, we could talk offline about that later.
Okay.
Or people hit me up in
I,
the DM, on Instagram, psychedelic_DRS. And,
oh,
I can, share that, because that's where I went in 2016. They're still operational to this day. And I wanted to go with a medicine woman because it's a very maternal spirit. And just personally, that's what spoke to me. And I do feel called to it. So with psychedelic medicines, any of these substances, like feel called to them. I don't feel called to all of them. I personally don't feel called to do ibogaine at this point in my life yet. But I felt called to do ayahuasca, and it was beautiful for me. And I only did one time, and I feel like I got the things I was looking for. So it's not something I went back to over and over. Psilocybin is also beautiful medicine. DMT is ayahuasca, but there's also other forms of DMT, like ayahuasca's NN-DMT. There's also 5-MeO-DMT, which is Bufo alvarius or the snoring desert toads. There's hundreds of psychedelics out there. So there's main ones that people kind of know about. We call like the classic psychedelics, which is basically the DMT, psilocybin, LSD, and mescaline, which would be like peyote, San Pedro, that kind of stuff. And then there's the atypical psychedelics, like ketamine is considered atypical, MDMA, 5-MeO-DMT, 2CB. The list goes on and on. I mean, there's so many. I'm probably left out some, but there's they're tools. Like anything in life, everything's a tool or a weapon. Here's my phone. It's a tool or a weapon, depending on how I use it. Am I using social media to get myself a little dopamine hits, and to escape, or am I using it to, promote my business or to communicate with my parents or, family or friends, so everything's a tool or weapon. Same thing with psychedelics. So just how whether it's a tool or weapon, ask yourself in the moment, am I using this thing to deeper connect with myself right now? Or am I using this to escape from myself right now? And that's pretty much the answer on, is it a tool or weapon?
yes. And I love how you have the integration part of the program. It's not just go in, get hooked up and leave. You have the whole being true to you, that you put everyone through that program that I felt so strongly about. I actually put my son through that program, being true to you, afterwards, because I wanted him to learn even more about it, the integration. And the integration, is the longest part. You can be integrating years after doing one of these.
Sure.
It comes through or memory, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I finally understand what the
Mhm.
medicine was trying to tell me a year ago. So to understand the whole integration process is very important. And I love the fact that your company offers that.
100%. Yeah, I went through the Being True course training program back in 2021. I felt like I needed to, and like going through Being True to You was being true to me, and it was beautiful. Like Deanna Adamson, shout out to her and Being True to You. Definitely, if you're at a clinic that doesn't do integration, you can always reach out to them directly and do that integration. But then I co-authored a workbook with them as well, so you have a consistent, experience as you go through our program. And integration does take a lot of time. Like I'm still integrating my ayahuasca experience from 7 years ago. So same thing with ketamine. It's not like we get you rapidly changed in a matter of like, days or weeks. But then people always ask, how long does ketamine last for? And my answer is that it has the potential to last a lifetime if you continue to integrate the things that you learned and it opened up for you as you went through the experience. So you can continue to reflect on it and it can continue to heal you. Like it got me, like ayahuasca and ketamine, to the point that this is all happening for me, not to me, right? So once that shifted my paradigm, that I'm looking at life through that lens, then it can last forever. There's a saying, this is from Stanislav Grof, and I kind of changed the quote a little bit, but here's the gist of it, is that what the telescope did for astronomy, the microscope did for biology and medicine, and that's what psychedelics will do for psychiatry, psychology, and human consciousness. Imagine if you never looked through a microscope in your life. What would your view of this world be? Imagine if you never saw the Earth from space, that picture of the Earth from space. What would your worldview be? Right. So this is the next lens through which you get to view your reality, your consciousness, your chit, so you can, heal your shit.
Exactly. Well, holy chit. We're getting deep here, but there's so much more we need to talk about. I'm going to have you on another time.
Yeah,
I wanted to mention one other thing that your office does that I love is how you talk about setting an intention. Before
definitely.
you come in to be hooked up to the IV, you talk about what it is you're working on, what it is your intention is. You talk
Definitely.
about journaling, and then you help integrate also, even though there's an integration program, you also talk to each person as if they're family and help to integrate as well. So I really just want to tell you how amazing your practices and how it's really just changed my life with my relationship with my son and the things that he's gone through. And then also what I know you're bringing to the world, this new psychedelic medicine. And that's what it is. And it's funny because I never saw psychedelics as a medicine until my son went to you guys. I had heard about ayahuasca and I was drawn to that. And I thought, okay, this is medicine that I feel like, I could use. But until my son came to your clinic, and it really opened up my eyes that all these psychedelic medicines have a purpose and a place. They can rewire the brain. They can help us heal in so many different ways that I'm really just on beginning to learn uh, how powerful that they are. So thank you
Definitely.
for being a part
Yeah,
of
thank you so much. I
learning.
appreciate that. Thank you. It's well received. Yeah, I mean, you come into the clinic, everybody, you're VIP if you're rolling with me. Like you're part of the family. I'm going to give you my, full attention. I put my heart and soul into this. Like this is my purpose. There's a thing called Ikigai, Ikigai, which is, find what you love, what you're good at. The world needs it. Make a living from it. So this is my Ikigai. Being an anesthesiologist, it was definitely had a purpose, but it wasn't my Ikigai. I didn't love it. It became a job, and I liked it at times, but this is my true calling and purpose. So it's an honor and privilege to be able to give people these experiences. And I'm trying to get you to activate your own inner healing intelligence. So I want you to go within. That's why you have the mindfold and the headphones and everything. Really encourage that going within so you can get beyond how you're feeling. You can get unstuck essentially. And then, yeah, like the integration coaching is Being True to You does the preparation. So you're coming in here prepared. It's not like you're just coming in here without being talked to. And then I'm going to coach you through it as well, 30 minutes before you even start your first infusion. We're always talking before each infusion. And then you're integrating after infusions 1, 2, 4, and 6 the next day after the infusions to continue that process. I had to just bake it into the process. I couldn't make it optional because people always try to do the least amount of work, get the biggest benefit. But I knew that if they weren't doing integration, they were really selling themselves short. So that's why, yeah, we're so huge into the integration aspect. I say, if
Yeah.
you want to become great, you got to integrate.
Yes, I love that. And the intentions, have going into it with an
Yes.
intention is so important, because if you don't know, you're just wandering blind. So having that
Correct.
intention set not that that's what you need at that moment, because we can go into it with an intention and then the medicine teaches us something totally different. But
Mhm.
having that intention is very powerful. So reminding your clients of that. Okay, what what is your intention? What are we working on today? So
Yeah.
I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on today. Please let everyone know your social media, your
Yeah.
website, any, so we can plug that in, plug in all your sites so they can find
Yeah,
you.
for sure. Yeah, and thank you, Christy. So much love for you as well, and just that you're helping to raise awareness, and also like I gotta give a shot to Optimize. Like you went there, the cold plunging, all these other things as integration tools, as biohacking, healing modalities. Like you really engaged all the things that I kind of like mentioned to you. Like you did it. So like you are like just all in, which is awesome to see. I was like, yes, she's going, she's doing it. And so
Yes.
like cold plunging is huge, sauna, like all these different meditation, like you do it, the yoga, all the things. So how to find me, psychedelic underscore doctors DRS, or you can call the clinic 480-631-4800. You can also check out our website. The short one is Delic Doctors, so DELIC DRS.com, or we're known as Advanced Wellness and Pain. So you can find us on Google, and for the highest rated ketamine clinic on Google in Arizona. And I guess I also need to leave you with a little rhyme of sorts for the listeners. So we can do that. So for your listeners, you just listened to the legend of a street pharmacist turned anesthesiologist. Listen up, Christy. Class is in session. You ain't about to be dismissed. I turn my personal itch into my occupational scratch. I'm just here to get human consciousness lit like a match. There ain't no catch. Hi, they call me Dr. James. I got psychedelic blood evolution in my veins. I'm here. I came from far away. I'm a luminary now, making moves, starring waves. There you go. There's more to it, but I'll just leave it at that.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And I want to mention you have two locations, one in Scottsdale, one in Gilbert, correct?
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Art is a big part of that. So I love visionary art. Alex Gray, Allison Gray, Amanda Sage, Lynn Fisher, Jim Fagora, Robert Randall, like just so many great psychedelic art. Blake Foster are in there, so you guys can check out them. And the visionary art, I think, is definitely something that goes in hand with the psychedelic medicine movement. And if you're ever in New York City, you got to take an hour and a half train ride north to Wappinger Falls and visit Entheon, Entheon. And that's the visionary art temple that just got finished this year. It's like the Taj Mahal just got built in New York. And a lot of people don't even realize that. Alex Gray, Allison Gray put that together. Alex Gray recently turned 70 years old just a couple weeks ago. And it's beautiful. Like it's called Entheon, which means to discover the creator within. So if you want to up-level your chit, your consciousness, go visit Entheon. They're open every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's beautiful. You will definitely not regret it. You'll be like, wow, I didn't know this exists. I'm so glad I got to see this. Yeah, it's awesome. So,
That's in New York, you said?
yeah, Wappinger Falls, New York. It's an hour and a half train ride north of New York City.
I'm going to have to check that
Entheon,
out.
Entheon.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm going to have to try that out. And yes, I want to thank you for introducing me to Michael over at Optimize. You're the one who told me about Michael. He's been on the show also.
Yeah, you engaged. I'm glad you did. I want to say like this has been a really good chit chat.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, James. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I hope to have you on again sometime, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, if the listeners really like what they heard, they want to learn more, hit me up in the DM on social media. I'm very reachable. Just a regular guy that was crazy enough to go to med school, become a doc. Like follow your dream, like that. I encourage anyone to do that. Listen to that little voice, in your mind. Like tap, what's it telling you to do? A lot of times it's telling you to do the uncomfortable thing, like go grab the mic, get on stage, go get that degree, go become this thing. So listen to that inner voice, and I did, and I'm a kind of a manifestation of that. So thank you so much. Love, respect. It's such a privilege to be on here with you, and just be able to connect with you in this lifetime. I try to think that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and so we're a conscious meat suit, on a blue rock hurtling through space. And so it's really cool that I got to have this moment with you and share this time with you. And time is our most finite resource. So our presence is our ultimate present. So to be present with you right now and your listeners is a beautiful opportunity. So just, yeah, thank you so much, like beyond words.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And the fact that I got to interview you on my show is amazing. You're such an inspiration to me and my family. And I really appreciate all of your little, what do you call them? Your little,
Lathemisms.
yes, I love
Yeah.
them.
Here's the last one. I just came from Austin, Texas. So I went from Austin, Texas to being ostentatious on Christy Austin's podcast. Holy shit. We just had a good chat.
Holy shit. That just wrapped up today's show. That was the perfect way to do it. All right. Thank you, James. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Christy. Till next time.